Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Tuesday. So pumped to be here with you as Cody, we're about to be in May, brother, and it feels like it's the dead of the football season, but we still have recruiting going on. And I was just thinking about it earlier as I was making the fall camp depth chart projection for the defense that we'll talk about here on the show tomorrow. But dude, if you think about it, with the Texas game getting moved, or with Texas having its first game on August 30th or whatever, is it the 30th? Yeah, Saturday the 30th. Sark said that they're going to be starting fall camp at the end of July now. So we're technically less than 3 months.
123 days until Ohio State.
Yeah, so it's like it's going to be right
3 weeks away from that thing being under 100.
It's going to be right back before we know it. It's like we're only 2.5 months out from like SEC media days, and by then it'll feel like we're already back in it. So it's like going to Hotlanta for all those open bars that the SEC is so cool about giving us. All right, Texas now is leading for a 4-star out-of-state defensive tackle. New news today coming out from Adam Gorney of Rivals. Let's tell him about it.
Kendall, I'm going to try and pronounce it right. Kendall Grale. Kendall Grale is the defensive tackle from Fort Myers, Florida, just about an hour and a half south of where we were this whole last week down there in Tampa. 6'5", 295 pounds. He took an unofficial visit this last weekend to Texas. He's got visits lined up officially with Florida State, Florida, and Texas. He's got what's listed as an unofficial, but I think it's an official with Georgia on June 6th as well. Leans against Florida, conversations with Florida State, things of this nature. Texas just offered him about a month and a half ago, but he released a top 10 on Monday, so yesterday, and it involved Georgia, Texas, USC, Alabama, Florida, Michigan, Miami, Louisville, North Carolina, and Florida State. Now, you hear the list top 10, you're like, wow, what the hell does that mean? It doesn't mean much. It's a top 10 list, right? It could be an array of thoughts here, but within Jason's write-up on him, or I should say it's Gorney's write-up on him, he had some thoughts here. The trip to Texas was amazing, Grale said. Texas is the leader, though, with a phenomenal visit in Austin over the weekend. Coach Kenny Baker and Coach Kenoto Hudson were amazing, made the trip amazing for me. We got to go over film. They gave me some of the great advice on how to perfect my craft. Overall, the trip was 10 out of 10. And then was asked about if Texas is the new number one. He said definitely the front runner. Did Kendall Grale, the 6'5", 295-pound defensive tackle. And my first thoughts here, and I'll let you I know you watched the huddle. So my first thoughts was, do you remember Floyd Guidry from last year's class?
Nah, I remember. I'd be lying to you if I remember what his play style was like.
So Floyd Guidry was like 6'2", 290 from Spring, Texas. He ended up at TCU. But his just mannerisms and play style was the first player I recalled when watching Kendall Grale. What did you think of Kendall Grale?
What was it about Guidry that, like, what do you mean the play style? What about him?
Just how he moves. That's why I said like mannerisms and play style. At defensive tackle, I mean, it's not really a bunch of different ways how to play it, right? So it's just like the first player I thought of that came into my memory bank was Floyd Guidry from last year. Maybe it's because it's most near in my brain, but that was who came up.
Do you know who he reminds me of? Do you remember the kid? Oh gosh, I think he was at the Senior Bowl one year. He ended up going to Florida State. I think his name was Marvin Wilson.
Yes.
Do you remember Marvin Wilson from Houston?
Wide body.
But anvil body with the, like, not the thin calves like Vernon Broughton, but the running back from the knee down. He's not thin calves, you know. But because he's got big calves with skinny ankles, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But his calves are noticeably sort of thinner than his quads and like the upper portion of, the kind of mid and upper portion of his legs. And I think that's where he gets his play strength coming into initial engagement, is like right through there. And then from there, the way he can disengage and get off it, it really reminds me a whole ton of whenever we used to watch Marvin Wilson. And dude, Marvin was, I believe, I think he was a 5-star. He was a really big time recruit. Ended up being, not very good at Florida State, and I don't think he had a pro career at all.
He was a
But
number 2 ranked player in the 2017 class. He was a 6'1" 5-star
yeah,
from Episcopal in Houston.
yeah, Houston Episcopal. That's right. So I'm watching now. I'm watching this mid-season highlight from this last year that I hadn't seen before. Whenever I can pick, like he engages with some violence and stuff. But dude, I think yesterday after watching what's his name, Vodney Cleveland from Birmingham.
Yep.
It's really hard to compare violence of engagement and efficiency and power of disengagement right after watching that guy. It's a little bit unfair, but I do think that the way that was Kendall, the way that Kendall moves, just in free space, he's a little bit, almost a little bit better of a mover, and I think he weighs like 15 pounds less right now. So Vodney Cleveland, I think yesterday we were watching him. Was he 313? Let me look it up.
Vodney Cleveland is listed at 308 pounds, and Kendall's listed at 295. So yeah, about 13 pounds.
Yeah, so I think in free space, he moves a little. This guy moves a little bit better. But dude, if I'm just talking about it from a pure trait standpoint, I would prefer Vodney Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Do you think
is he ranked higher?
Vodney?
Yeah.
Vodney is the 8th ranked defensive tackle in the class. Kendall is 19th. Kendall's not a top 250 guy. He's a 5.8, however, and I believe Vodney is also he's a 5.9. I'll be honest with you, man. I hate the 5'8", 5'9", 6'0" thing. Like there's no discrepancy between 5'8", 5'8", 5'8", 5'8", 5'9", 5'9", 5'9". You know what I'm saying? Like give me like a 6'4", a 6'4", Like give me some actual rub here.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying like it's just cowardly that they're not even ranked.
Yes, it's cowardly. They say, well, I'm ranked at 17. This guy's ranked at 9. It's like, but they're both 5'8". So is it a 5'8" and a 5'8"? What is it?
I wasn't even paying attention to you saying who was technically ranked higher because I saw this comment and it really hit home with me. Who was ranked higher?
Vodney is DT 8, Kendall's DT 19.
Okay, so I mean the rival sees it like I see it, right? But dude, it's cool to be leading with this guy. Like we talked about on the modcast earlier today. It's like Texas now has had to just load up and have they have 10 of these interior defensive tackles coming into fall camp. It's like they're just trying to do everything they can to throw whatever spaghetti at the wall that they possibly can. They need to up just their volume in recruiting at the high school level at this position. And I think this guy, he reminds me like the same way that we were talking about the running back we discussed yesterday. And I can't believe I've already forgotten his name, but this is like a kind of a defensive tackle version of that you're going to, what was the
Elijah Kimball?
Yeah, Kimball. There's so much to like about him, but probably not the player at that position that's going to be your kind of show horse that is going to be the one that you build around, if that makes sense. More of a kind of key supporting piece.
Before you answer this chat question from Colby, shout out to Colby in the chat. Do you think that when they go and the coaches go and like offer these kids or the kids come to campus, whatever, do you think they do the maniacal thing of pull out the measuring tape and measure the hands and measure the wingspan? Because the wingspan is one, as I've gone through all the edge players and defensive ends and D tackles and stuff, like some of these guys got long arms. Like, do you think that's a trait thing? Like, I know the NFL, obviously that's a public knowledge, like, oh, so-and-so had 85-inch wingspan, but in high school to college, I know you did it at a couple of camps, notably with Cam Williams, but do you think that these coaches do this?
They'd be donkeys not to, right? Dude, I mean,
You think they just look at him and go, "Oh, dude, his arms reach down to his kneecaps, like he's got long arms." It's like, all right, well, you don't have to, but you just like infer it. But do you think that they actually like have, like we got to have a guy with 80-inch wingspan coming out of high school? Like,
Are you telling me that they have that they spend all the time in the world? And trust me, I've done this before. I was the one who introduced the tracking data to the Senior Bowl.
catapult?
But yeah, Byron and I did it. Do you know how nasty it is to go in there and after practice and reach into these guys' dirty, stinky, sweaty pads and get those little look like little like the little
Apple things.
yeah, they look like that, and get those things out, and then you got to stick them all in this big array, and then like it takes in all the data, and then you got to have some nerd go through it like a Mike Van type, and he's got to make it into a spreadsheet, and then you look at it and you all this, and you got an analytics staff to tell you what to do on third down, and you have all you do all the testing all year round on these guys, and you know who the fastest is on GPS, and you're telling me you bring them in and you don't get their wingspan or their hand size.
I'm just saying, you're talking about going college to pro, and pro's got billions of dollars to spend. I'm talking about these coaches going out and being like,
they say, man, come on in here. Let's get a height. Let's come in here and get some measurements
for their database.
Yeah, we'll get some measurements.
I mean, I would assume, like, I would do it. I know you would do it, but I'm just asking the question because, like, you often see, and I guess the question more is like, is it to the merit of like, we got to get a height weight on this guy because we're not going to offer him if he doesn't hit these thresholds, like it is in the NFL, where it's like if you're Trent Baalke, you're not going to draft an edge rusher if he doesn't have 34.5-inch wingspan or arm length. Like, it just seems like a lot more in college from high school. The offers are just like sent. Like, it's just like, offer this kid. Well, I just wonder if there is actually like, and maybe it's that. Maybe they got to offer a kid to get him onto campus, and then they potentially get those numbers. And then that's when you hear they don't really want him to commit.
Come in, he's got 7 3/8-inch hands, and you're just I'm not so sure that offer's committable.
You look good on tape, but that offer doesn't really come with a commitment signing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Colby, we got to answer this question. He said, nothing gets your heart racing quite like opening the chicken egg box and coming face to face with a snake. And I can tell you that that's 100% true. And I'll tell Colby,
I've got videos from you of this.
He did say, you have a video of that?
I've had videos sent to me from you of that happening.
Oh, I was gonna say it'd be cool if you had it, we could just show it.
I probably do. I just have to probably scroll for it.
What you got to do is you got to. He says sadly the snake has crossed the rainbow bridge. And dude, you feel like that. Here's the thing. It was just a rat snake, right? It's like you got to kill it. Once they get a taste for the eggs, you got to kill them. This stuff that they say to do about putting, they tell you, if you have one of them that's a problem snake, what you can do is you can put like the eggs in there that are like hard plastic eggs to where they eat them and they just kind of get stuck in them and they have a really hard time passing them through, dude. It's like I've even done that to these where I've seen the snakes crawling away and they have that thing. That snake will still find a way to, get that thing out of its body and come back. Once it gets a taste for the eggs, it's not leaving. And so what I would recommend is just, you got to get, once you've identified the fact, and I'm not good at doing this, I have to have my wife tell me I put my life in her hands. I'm like, is that snake venomous? She's like, no, it's not. It's, whatever. You just got to get over it. You got to buy the little snake handling things. Just get him in the head, with those, and just grab him by the tail, get him out of there.
I mean, you're talking about like what, under 2 foot long snakes, aren't you?
Oh no, I mean we're talking these rat snakes can get they're certainly longer than 2 feet. Yeah, certainly long. I mean they're kind of coiled up and like it's a bit harrowing, man. But you just got to get over your fear of snakes. If you know that they're not venomous, it doesn't even matter. Whatever they bite you, it doesn't even hurt. So.
Because they don't have big teeth mostly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of hurts. They bit me before. Might draw a little blood, but
not as bad as that. As bad as that catfish fin.
If you want, it's nothing like those hard heads. If you if you own chicken, like it's just part of the deal about having delicious eggs to eat every day. You're gonna have to deal with it. All right.
I
So
can't believe you just missed. You just airballed on the best transition you could have possibly had.
for for Texas beef traders,
It's nothing like having fresh eggs every day. And you could have said it's certainly nothing like having fresh meat every day.
and the,
It's really simple.
and you can have it at Texas beef traders. Like I'm not eating Texas beef traders tonight because I saw that my wife already took out some Axis chorizo, so I'm guessing we're getting some delicious chorizo something tonight. But if it's not something that I killed myself, and if it's not chicken, I've said it all the time. I don't eat it if it doesn't come from Texas beef traders. I won't do it. I get 10% off at Texas beef traders, and so do you. You just go in there, tell Darren that you heard from him here. No vaccines, no antibiotics, no steroids, no junk. Just straight good protein at Texas beef traders. We sell Cody and I have our own line of beef jerky there. We're about to have our own line of a whole new product. The one I'm most excited about. I can't wait to tell you guys about it. The samples and the prototypes are already in. Okay, it's going to be awesome. And we couldn't do it without our great friends at Texas Beef Traders. Please go support those guys. Give them a call. Go to TexasBeefTraders.com. Make an order. It doesn't even have to be big. If you live in the Austin area, Darren will just bring it to your house, or Shay. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Make sure and go check those guys out. And let's throw up here to our other great sponsors, of course, with Poncho Outdoors. All right. Was there a question here I saw? So
Nick Garcia.
It was something about Jake Majors. I don't want to derail the conversation. Okay. Oh, Bucks fan. Happy to see you sign Majors. We got Barton last year. Does he have the skill to rotate positions on the line in the NFL? And why did he drop so far as to be a UDFA? Do you have we'd heard, I was kind of getting the idea, Cody, that by the
I think he got a $250,000 guarantee, by the way.
Well, they gave $250,000. I thought it was I thought that was 125 that he got. Was it 250?
I think it was like 230 or something.
Oh gosh, I might have seen 225 or something like that. Yeah. So
260 guaranteed.
I'm here's the thing. I know you guys took Graham Barton in the first round last year, and I know you have our guy Cody Mock. Does he play left guard or right guard?
And Ben Bredesen. But Graham Barton, like last year, he's a multi-tool guy.
Yeah, but here, let me just go. They don't have anybody behind him.
It's Ben Bredesen left guard right now, Mock right guard, and Graham Barton center. And there's literally nobody behind him. Even though we know Cody Mock could play center. Graham Barton and Cody Mock are kind of the same, where they can both play left guard, right guard, center. So I think the play here with Jake Majors is you put him in for a year behind these guys. Bredesen's under contract. You let Bredesen walk. Then you kind of let Barton and Mock take the guard spots and put Majors at center. That's my foreshadow of the situation.
I think I think that makes sense. And of course, Jason liked had such a great experience with the last UDFA Texas center that he took in Zach Shackelford, that he had to come back for more, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, look, no one was expecting Jake Majors to go super early. It's like it's not shocking that he was a UDFA. Did you see? I was kind of looking around at some of these other UDFA stuff. Did you see that? Did you see that the Vikings signed Silus Balden?
I did.
What do you think of that? You've always been a Vikings fan.
Yeah, I love it. I love it for the fact that they've always kind of been a team to lean into the specialized special teamer. And like ever since I was, a kid, it was like Heath Farwell was like a specialized, like they devoted him to special teams. Kenny Wangyu, Corin Robinson, Cordero Patterson, like they always had, I don't know what it is. It's been through multiple front offices, but they've always had like a big, focal point on this. And Silus feels like a guy that they could definitely make a focal point on all special teams, maybe not kick return, but everything else, including punt coverage, kick coverage, everything. Silus feels like he could dominate it and be, like the fifth receiver. where they got what Jefferson, Addison, Ty Felton. Now they love Jalen Naylor. Like he
I
can.
forgot they drafted Felton. That kind of makes it hurt a little bit, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Silus Balden was never going to get. He was never going to be the 3 for anybody.
Yeah, right. No, I get it. I'm trying to think of who
He's
else.
more of the.
And Rondale. They added Rondale.
Oh, they did. They added Rondale. Who was the
Which is Rondale and Silus Bolden are kind of redundant.
Who was the receiver from South Carolina? Shy Smith. Remember when we asked like Paul Fitter. Last name's Fitter, the GM, the old GM for the Panthers.
Scott
Fitter.
Scott Fitter.
We were like,
the old GM
what's
the Panthers.
Yeah, what's the deal with Shy Smith this year? He's like, well, we love Shy, but we want him to be more of a 4 or 5 instead of like our 3. So, like that's what, and because he was a special teamer guy, like that's what I think Silas fits in. I think Silas can definitely have a 4, 5, 6+ year career if he finds his role, which I think will be that he'll be like the wide receiver 5, and he'll be a great special teamer and a great teammate.
So, dude, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but we didn't talk really too much about.
I don't think we did it all yesterday, did we?
What were you going to say? Because I guarantee it's not what I was going to bring up.
No, I was going to say we didn't talk at all about the draft.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to ask you something else, kind of as it relates to Silus Bolden.
Okay.
Do you know how they moved Niblett back to wide receiver?
Yeah.
So I think we hit on that from the beach, maybe last week. Did we talk about that at all? Because I
know we talked about it. I don't know if we talked about it with a camera on or not.
Okay. Well, so he did at that point in time. I'm like, man, is he gonna get in the portal today? Right. I was worried. I'm like, man, this guy's gotten jerked around so much from position to position, and is he a running back? Is he a wide? He goes from wide receiver to running back to nickel corner. Now he's back to wide receiver. All this. Do you? I just started thinking as I got done doing the defense and I started doing the offense, or just started putting together my template to do the offense next for my write up on Orange Bloods. Just a kind of too early fall camp depth chart projection.
There you go.
Do you think they're gonna what was the pitch to Nib? Like the only pitch I was just like put myself in the coach's shoes and his shoes. And what they would have to say to him to kind of ease his heart a little bit, because I'd heard this, like they were hoping he would be happy with the move back, which made me think it's like they're hoping he's not going to transfer. Do you think they told him that they're going to use him like Silus Bolden and Keelan Robinson?
That would be in the current state at which he's been dealt, I think a very positive note, because it would include the word "be on the field."
Yeah, and it all
right. You get to be on you are going to be a kind of what I just said with Silas. Like you're going to be a master special teamer, and guess what? If you're in this Keelan role, you're in the Silas role, you're going to be on the field in certain packages and certain opportunities. You just got to make the most of it, right?
And we've seen those guys.
Keelan got drafted because of it in the 5th round, no less.
Was he 5th?
I think he was 167 overall, maybe.
Yeah, and we know that the Jags kind of apparently I guess that they're all new now.
167. Yeah, he had a foot injury all year. I went down there to training camp. He's in a boot on the stationary bike the whole time.
But the Jags beat who's that beat writer I talked to? Kind of oversized shit. Yeah, John Shipley. He was saying like all the beat reporters down there think he's like they think he's good. Yeah. So we'll see. I think that's kind of the role that he'll be playing. We have another chat here from Nathan saying, is there any risk for a team not to sign Bond, even with his legal issues? Or any risk not to – there's not any risk not – there's no risk not to sign him.
The only risk – yeah, the risk would be if you signed him.
You sign him.
If you signed him and then he's found guilty or something, then you're like, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Isaiah Bond, and then that's what they don't want. They don't want that attachment.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I think if he was two things, really.
I'd put all my money on Dallas, wouldn't you? Just given where this thing took place from, he's been in Texas. Like they're going to know the most, aren't they? The soonest.
You went back over the draft today. It's like we always talk about how the draft is like. And I say this very respectfully because I don't equate it to war, but it's like it feels like fog of war. Hit the whenever you're doing it live, it's just things come in so fast, and you're reporting on it. You're giving analysis. And so I don't have in totality my exact memories of exactly who all Dallas even drafted. Did they take a wide receiver?
No, and they only added 2 in free agency. It was Trayshawn Holden from Oregon and Josh Kelly from Texas Tech. So 0.
I mean, of course they could use Bond, but like, here's the fact of the matter: one, Bond was going to fall anyway because he has bad locker room character.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
but
And
so does Blue.
So does Blue, allegedly. But you can't do it. It's like it's not even like with the stuff with Mike Green, right? It was similar stuff, but see, with Mike Green, I'm not exactly sure, but I know that he was never charged or found guilty or anything like that, right?
No,
it was always what?
No, and it was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, but it was twice, once in high school, once at Virginia. So obviously baggage, right? But here's the thing. He was really good and super awesome and had 17 and a half sacks. And you just, I mean, I hate to say it, man, but some of this stuff, it's like Cody and I were talking about, is he going to fall at around 1? And we're like, dude, there begins to be some kind of human element here that the team just doesn't want to walk out there on night 1 and have a guy like D. Orlando Ledbetter, because I think I had him mocked to go to the Falcons. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, dude, they don't want D. Led's first question to be about this guy's multiple allegations on this stuff and if they've gone through and cleared it with security and all this. So there's that. And then the other thing is, the teams haven't had time to vet this yet.
Yep.
There's still new stuff coming out. I just saw today, there's a new article that came out that apparently it wasn't out there in the national media exactly, the alleged offer to, pay
pay her off.
Yeah. Like allegedly, that what was alleged. I'm not saying that any of it happened. He should be able to have his day of court too, or, whatever, like he should have his due process. But it's like there's a lot to sort through. You can't take him. You can't take him right now. You got to get it figured out. And I don't think that your security team is going to be able to get it figured out before now that it's actually within the. It's just like it's a bad deal for him. And people are asking, like, what round did we have him going before and it wasn't is it technically an arrest if you turn yourself in?
Well, I think that means there's a warrant if it was, I would say technically, but anyway, arrest turned in, same thing. Before that, though, like you said, the locker room question marks were arisen. And I, at one point before the combine, was like, if this guy runs, 4.19, 4.2, like, you're going to be impossible to keep his name out of the top 40. And then the conversations we had at the combine, coupled with some other stuff and him running slow, like instantly put his name in the 3rd round for me. And I was like, this just, I was like, there's no. Until I talked to somebody the week before the draft, I was like, there's no way he doesn't go round 3, worst case scenario, round 4. And then when I text somebody and they're like, he ain't going to get drafted, I was like, oh. And then kind of what you just said, there's just not enough time to get through all this stuff.
And if you haven't noticed, they've been a little bit busy these last few days. They've been having to actually sign guys who they know are like don't have any of this stuff.
Guys like Silus Balden who are.
I don't have any tequila right now. I wish you know what? Right after this, I'm going to go over to Specs. Thanks so much to Specs for being such a great sponsor.
Have you heard the news? Specs is turning 63, and we're celebrating you. Whether you're looking for whiskey, canned cocktails, or wine, Specs has it all with Texas-sized savings all month long. Specs. Cheers to save.
Cody, real quick, anything like any little nuggets you want to give from the behind enemy lines column before we get out of here?
2.
All right.
One thing is, I'll say this. I was scrolling through the old Aggie side of things, and they were kind of reacting to the results from the draft and saying how I've seen some discussion on how the Texas has buried A&M in draft picks this year and all that jazz. Well, true. I think it's very misleading talking about, their turnover and coaching and all this stuff. And I just found it funny because, these guys don't cover the NFL draft side of things like you and I do. So we're a little bit different in how we kind of view things and understand stuff. And anyway, this analyst from over at Aggie Yell was like, he's like, listen, this year, look at all these draft eligible players. He listed out 39 dudes, including like backup quarterbacks, backup linemen, backup corners, like 6 corners that are backups, right? That just like don't play football. They're like not going to play. And he's like, not to mention blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not sure this guy knows how this works, but just because they're draft eligible doesn't mean Jaden Chapman's draft eligible next year. Connor Stroh's draft eligible. Ryan Niblett's draft eligible. That doesn't mean anything. And then I went and I go, I think they're going to have some players drafted, right? They got some guys. Like I think Julian Humphrey's good enough. The kid that just transferred from Georgia, Des Ricks. I think they got some nice guys, 100%. They got some good defensive linemen, etc. And I go, I'll set the number at 6.5 for how many players they get drafted for next year. And I was like, that feels good. Maybe feels right. And then I go, this number is 0.5 lower than the past 2 draft classes combined for A&M. And then Texas, of course, has 23 players drafted the last 2 classes under Steve Sarkisian, which is the most over the last 2 draft cycles. And then A&M and Oklahoma have combined for 15 total players drafted in that same span. So 2 schools, 15 players drafted in 2 years. Texas, 23 players drafted in 2 years. And then the other one, I don't usually do a lot on like Florida and non-Oklahoma A&M schools, but I found it interesting when I was over on the Florida board that they kind of put out an updated like 2026 defensive big board of players offered and focused on right now by Florida. 14 of the 21 non-committed defensive players on the Florida big board, 14 of 21 are also Texas offers and have Texas, like you can go on the internet and you can just find a lot of, like lean towards Texas, conversations around Texas. So there's a lot more Florida connection right now, a lot more Florida battle, Texas versus Florida, than there is if you go over to like the Oklahoma board or even the A&M board. Just a lot more. Does that make sense? A lot more players in the, like if you put the chart up where you have
the old Venn diagram.
Yeah. Like the Olympic logo, how you have like intersecting. Yeah. A lot more intersection between Texas and Florida than there is between Texas and Oklahoma and Texas and A&M.
Huh. All right.
I thought was very interesting. But it makes sense with the out-of-state stuff right now with the defensive side of the ball.
Couple good nuggets there. We going to do the defensive depth chart tomorrow?
Dude, hell yeah.
All right. Now, you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can find us on X, at Alex Dunlap NFL, at Cody Carpentier. If you could please like the show, subscribe to the channel. If you could let a friend know about the show, help us continue to grow, we would certainly appreciate that. We could not do it without you guys watching here live. And then, of course, everybody that watches on replay. And then finally, if it's your first time watching the show, you've never seen it before, and you dig what we're doing, just come back, man. We're here every night at 6 p.m., okay? So thank you guys so much for being here. As usual, thanks to Texas Beef Traders, thanks to Poncho Outdoors, thanks to Specs, Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods, and, of course, thanks to our great friends over at My Perfect Franchise. We couldn't do it without them. We could not do it without you guys. We can't thank you enough for being here. We love you, all right? God bless you, man. We'll see you tomorrow. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.